Sadiq Khan turns the London fireworks into a Marxist show, and the NHS rejects medical professionals because they're not woke. Hello everyone and welcome to the second video of the day. As you know, a couple of days ago we had the New Year's Eve, where usually capital cities across the world have big crowds, fireworks, lights and everything. This year everything was banned for obvious reasons. But our Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, decided to still put on a show for everybody, for the whole country, because the country is not London-centric enough apparently. So he decided to put on a fireworks and a drone show for the whole country and the whole world, because London matters. And the last few years we've had Sadiq Khan running these New Year's Eve shows, and he always turns them into a virtue signalling pro-European Union platform, with the London Eye turning into the EU flags with the blue and yellow stars and the usual stuff. This year he's taken it to a whole different level. The BBC firstly reported this, saying that, oh, look at this, New Year's Eve, UK season 2021, fireworks in London. Interestingly enough, the BBC failed to report the fact that this was an extremely politicized show, an extremely left-wing show, as if the whole country believe in the left-wing truism, where, like, so you have to go with certain things, you cannot criticize them. And I'm going to point out a few examples. Before we do that, interestingly enough, the official figures showed that 10.75 million viewers actually tuned in for this the 2021 show. It's actually down from the 11.18 million back in 2020. Considering everyone's at home, and the figure should have at least doubled or tripled, it's actually gone down because I think people are sick and tired of the London fireworks. The last few years, as I said, Sadiq Khan has just completely ruined it. This year, they've decided to pay tribute to a number of left-wing things and just a number of cringy things. First, let's start with the fist, the Marxist fist. I mean, why not? This is what we have now. This is absolutely normal. So the BLM logo with the fist, anger. This is the same fist that was the Marxist fist. The communists always had it. And it looks exactly the same. It's not even that different. They decided to adopt it, and the Mayor of London decided to, let's just go with it. Why not? Considering this organization has caused a lot of trouble, they are very dodgy views. They want to bring down the Western civilization and capitalist system and democracy. Nah, everything's fine. And considering the last few months, even the big brands, your Sky Sports and a number of big corporations who were backing them, they're slowly staying away from this. No, London and the Mayor of London still in favour. So that's the one example of how he decided to go with this virtue signalling mentality, which is just cringy. No one really cares. The second one, your blue bird, the European Union symbol and the EU colours. We have left the European Union a year ago, and this year we also left, a couple of days ago, we finished the transition period. Most Remainers have moved on. Even Gina Miller has moved on. Even Alistair Campbell has moved on. Sadiq Khan and his team in City Hall, they're not moving on. So that's another one. The European Union is still here, even though we've left it. Not in London, apparently. London is the EU hub, as long as we have Sadiq Khan as mayor. And then we have the sea turtle. Yeah. The sea turtle represents the fact that we're all going to die in about 10 years' time, unless you bring down the capitalist system and in the name of climate change. If you don't do that, 10 years' time, I think it's about 9 years now. So in 9 years' time, we're all going to die. And sea turtles are going to take over. They're going to be our overlords. That's basically the policy, right? This is another virtue signaling that if you do not support Extinction Rebellion and their friends and Greta Thunberg, then you want people to die. You don't care about sea turtles. Doesn't really matter. Even if you believe that environment should be protected, even if you believe in clean air, clean water, and you want to recycle, if you do not support this movement, you don't care, because in 9 years' time, doesn't matter about your pensions or anything else, you're all going to die anyway. That's another problem we had with the New Year's Eve fireworks. And finally, our favourite, the National Health Service. The NHS was have received a massive tribute. This is going to be quite tricky because I know a lot of people still, for some reason, we've been brainwashed for decades, whether you're left wing or right wing. A lot of people are in love with the NHS because this fear, this brainwashing from schools to any political kind of establishment that we've had is so deep in this country that even some people on the right, conservatives, love the NHS because they're so afraid of change. They think if you get rid of it, people are going to die. You have to pay for healthcare. This is the end of the world. The American system is coming here. Oh, not maybe? Maybe the European systems work, Western European, Scandinavian systems. Singapore. Any reform would be useful. The NHS problem is not necessarily the funding of it or anything like that. There are two problems with it. The model doesn't work, hasn't worked. This is not what Churchill's government promised us when they came up with this idea. This is not what Bevan wanted. This was supposed to be a safety net, not a religion. So one problem is the model. Second problem is that it's a religion. If you criticize the NHS, you want people to die. Not that you want an efficient system like any other country in the Western the world. No, you criticize the NHS, that means you want people to pay £2 million to go to the GP and A&E. Or maybe not. Maybe we don't want that. Maybe we want a system where it could actually be fair and it's not really about the funding of it, but this religion is being protected. It's the same people. I'm going to talk about the problem with the NHS in this video because they're going really, really woke. But the Mayor of London, who decided to do this, the same night, where the problems in London continues. 3 people, at least, initially, minutes after New Year's actually happened, went to hospital. And on a weekly basis, on an almost daily basis, we're having problems in this city, in the capital. But no, the Mayor of London is still talking about how... So he's responding to an article in the Mail that's talking about how Sadiq Khan was forcing politics onto New Year's Eve. Lockdown Londoners raged over woke fireworks demo that lit up the night in sky with EU flags, NHS logo, the BLM fist. And then Sadiq Khan replied with, does anyone else think this was pretty good? I'm doing a great job as mayor. Did you guys enjoy it too? No, we didn't. Because you're supposed to be protecting Londoners. And our safety is in risk, as at risk, because you don't really do your job. You're in charge of policing in London. There are people going to hospital on a daily basis, people losing their lives. But no, let's just put on the sea turtle and the blue bird, because, we're so nice. Why can't we just be friends? So this is Sadiq Khan doing all this weird stuff. And then we had The Spectator actually writing an article about why did Sadiq Khan politicize the London fireworks. There's a good part in this because it says... Melanie talks about how did it not occur to Sadiq Khan that this display was in fact controversial and divisive at home? Well, yes. It's not just the whole thing political. It's just divisive. She says that does he actually think that we all feel the same about the BLM, the NHS and Brexit? Earth to Sadiq, we don't. Not even all those who work in the NHS. My mum was a nurse until recently. No, she did not support the religion of the NHS. But she says, there is another possibility. 2021 is the year of the London mayoral election. It is possible, just possible, that this partisan displays is a means for the mayor to get his message across at public expense. In which case Londoners can add the New Year's fireworks to an ever-growing list of areas where the mayor has not been a force for unity alongside ridiculously expensive bike lanes and his astonishing implication earlier this year that the Met is instituted. True. This guy is basically he's created this echo chamber. He's just trying to get his voters out, his left-wing voters. He doesn't really care about uniting the city. The NHS is also a whole ridiculous concept because we just discovered, thanks to the Telegraph, and Guido Fawkes actually published this article about how you have to be woke. If you're a retired medical professional, you want to go back to the NHS to help with the current situation, you have to be woke. You have to go through a lot of requirements on the website to tick all the boxes. Otherwise, you'll be rejected. So recently retired doctors are being prevented from joining, again, to kind of help with the whole case, because of bureaucracy, including diversity documents mandated by the Equality Act. Of the 40,000 doctors and nurses who applied to return in March, 30,000 were eligible, but only 5,000 had been given the job by July. Out of 40,000, 30,000 could have, and 5,000 have. The NHS actually tweeted that we got this recruitment process in place because we want to recruit a lot of individuals from a variety of backgrounds. So we got a couple of tweets from people who have tried, medical professionals who tried to come back. Melanie Jones said, the NHS, the red tape faced by retired doctors who want to help. Basically, they want 20 pieces of evidence that they don't really have. All these weird things, the red tape and the diversity quotas. And there's another person, Professor Maureen Baker says, CBE says, I've reached this page on my application and I've given up for now. I can't see many retired clinicians wading through this lot or having all the required documents. It makes absolutely no sense. There's another person, Professor Nicola Thomas, who said, I'm going through this today, now on my 7th hour of CPD, not even at the pre-employment screening yet. Suspect many will have given up by now. This is embarrassing. This is because, as I said, this is not the NHS that people who came up with it as an idea wanted, but this is what we have now. And the SAGE, this advisory body that advises the government on the scientific and medical matters, is a monopoly, and they keep saying, "Oh, it's an independent body." Well, it's not independent; it's part of the government, and they continue to refuse to receive any scientific view from the outside world. There are scientists who are trying to get their voices heard, but SAGE is creating this monopoly. They're dominating the whole field, and Boris Johnson, Matt Hancock, and all the other ministers, just the only option they have is just listen to SAGE. And people like Neil Ferguson. There are all other scientists across the world and in this country who are trying to give alternative solutions to the current problem. But no, Desmond Swayne, one of the Tory MPs, one of the sound Tory MPs, stood in the House and actually said, SAGE needs to listen to other scientists.
And what I would certainly want, and what I believe the government needs, is an alternative source of expertise, a competitive source of expertise, particularly statisticians leading in their fields, who would be able to furnish me, to arm ministers with the right questions to ask about the validity of their modelling and their data. It can only improve the decision-making process.
Well, he's absolutely right, but they're not going to listen. Matt Hancock is not going to listen. Simon Stevens, the NHS, they're not going to listen. SAGE, definitely not going to listen, because, they have Neil Ferguson on the subcommittee. So that matters. Thanks again for watching. I just wanted to expose this ridiculous thing about Sadiq Khan and the NHS and SAGE. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to your channel if you haven't yet. Become a member. Get a lot of perks and benefits, including video podcasts. I'm literally just going to finish this and go do my tonight video podcast with the members of the channel. And then we're going to do our members Q&A in a couple of days on Monday. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.